Okay, we're going to do a 12-card tarot energy reading for the United States for July 2025. So, starting with the general national mood, we have the Two of Swords. There's an atmosphere of indecision, denial, or political stalemate. The country may be avoiding a crucial decision or stuck between two opposing forces. Possibly ideologies, legal rulings, or parties. Many are blinded to the truth or overwhelmed by disinformation. Political climate. 5 of Cups. Instead of satisfaction, the political atmosphere is now filled with grief, regret, or loss. Major event, likely a scandal, resignation, death, or legal exposure, may be triggering sorrow or national disillusionment. Politicians or the public may be focusing on what's been lost rather than what can still be salvaged. There's mourning, disappointment, and a refusal or difficulty to move forward. So, major event, a scandal, a resignation, or a death, or legal exposure. So this could be any number of things. The emotional tone strongly suggests fallout from a failed political move or decision. Maybe the big bill doesn't get passed. Maybe it does. Public backlash or hidden truths being revealed, so maybe it get passed and people find out what's happening. Event that brings sorrow across party lines. This could have to do with the funeral of the couple from Minnesota. Maybe because although there's some Republicans that are actually concerned about it, there's many that aren't. This drastically lowers morale and adds a sense of instability in July. And it seems like there's a lot of negativity and hostility regarding the rhetoric coming from the right side, especially since this guy who's been arrested in their murder had a list of 45 names that were all Democratic aligned in one way or another. So there's more to come in July. Social dynamics, which is the 10 of Cups reversed. There's a fracture in the collective dream. Families, communities, and the general population are divided. Yeah, that's for sure. Ideals of unity and the American dream feel inverted, and nobody wants to go to America because the American dream has been shattered. With cultural and moral breakdowns affecting social peace. That spells ice all over it, in my opinion. Is temperance. The economy is a fragile balancing act, so she's balancing, but there's a need for moderation, cooperation, slow healing. Inflation, wages, and resources distribution may be under active negotiation because we still have no deals. Trade and tariffs are still a huge problem. Wages are being lost, losing jobs, and money coming in, paying for higher priced goods. It's a real balancing act. It's not collapsing, but it's also not thriving. Measured recovery or careful orchestration is key. So you need to pay close attention to what will affect you, plan for that, and be prepared. Military or global affairs, we have the Chariot, and I'm just going to stack these on top of each other so that way I get them in front of the camera. This indicates aggression, assertion, or strategic movement abroad. The U.S. may take bold action militarily or diplomatically. Assertiveness and control are themes. Expect a major push or announcement from the Pentagon or State Department. Well, I heard this morning that Iran is fighting back again against Israel. So maybe the U.S. will get involved again, although I believe that they only got involved because they were trying to distract from Netanyahu's trial, and there was never any nuclear problem to worry about. Next we have Hidden Influences, which is the Page of Pentacles. There's a lost or misused opportunity, perhaps tied to youth, education, or financial mismanagement. Corruption or lack of long-term vision may be influencing national decisions behind the scenes, particularly involving tech, labor, or the economy. So Trump seems to think he's going to magically get all these businesses to move back to the United States at the snap of his fingers. That's just not going to happen. Logic doesn't dictate. Pack up an entire building in a business, move away from a country where your labor force is low, keeping your price of your goods low, back to a country where your costs are going to be higher, your product's going to be higher, which means you're going to sell less of your product. And do it now, because Trump said so. It just doesn't, life doesn't happen that way. It's just not going to happen. Where this man gets his ideas from really is shocking, but we all know he's not all there, so I guess that probably is why, but he's just making the rest of us have to deal with it. So the truth being suppressed is the Nine of Wands reversed. The nation is more exhausted, vulnerable, and broken down than public messaging lets on. I think everybody's tired of this. It's been going since literally since he walked down the stairs, or the escalator, the golden escalator. He has been nothing but trouble since he decided the presidency was in it for him. He is the worst nightmare, the laughing stock to the world, has been, is now, and swears he didn't lose the 2020 election, but he most definitely did. Swears he won the 2024 election, but there's lots of skepticism saying he didn't. Lots of proof saying that he didn't. But while they figure all that out, he's going to do as much destruction as he can. So people are burnt out. Their institutions are collapsing, right? Defensive walls are cracking, and the truth is bleeding through. But it's coming so slowly that people are tired of waiting. They're tired of waiting. And you know what, when people start getting to the point of being tired of it, you lose. Like, as much as the protests are getting bigger, how long is that going to last, right? And that's what he's counting on. That's exactly what he's counting on. He's trying to wear us down. The only thing that you can hope for is that he wears out first. And then he doesn't get 25th or unalived and J.D. Vance takes over, because J.D. Vance is worse than Donald Trump. Not in terms of personality. Well, both personalities stink in different ways, but J.D. Vance is more aligned with the Project 2025 than Donald Trump is, by margins. Like little margins, but so then we have the role of leadership, Three of Pentacles reversed, which is it's dysfunction and cooperation at the top. So there's political gridlock. The egos are clashing, which they are, right? Marco Rubio, his whole team is like fighting with him. The systems are breaking down. The leaders just aren't working well together. and they're actually undermining each other, because when you listen to the news, you'll hear one thing from one person and something else to another, to the point where now, before anybody says anything, they have to go get their talking points. If you noticed, the word obliterated came from every single person, right? People don't have a dictionary that they can use a different word. Every one of them said the same word, obliterated, except for, and I think his name was General Kane, the commander that was working with Pete Hegseth. He deferred his comment to Hegseth. He didn't say obliterated, at least not that I heard. So he's kind of keeping his oath, but who knows? It's questionable. It's always questionable. Now we have the People's Power and Protest as the Ace of Pentacles. The people are looking for new foundations, sustainable jobs, security, housing, and real economic reform. This could be a wave of new grassroots actions, labor movements, or pushes for new beginnings that are material and grounded, not just symbolic. So we have multiple different grassroots protests, 50501, No King's Day, and there's others, I don't know them all, but so those are going to be more of a grounded foundation for people that they actually trust versus the government, because people just don't trust the government anymore. They don't know who they can trust, but they know that they can trust the grassroots movements, because these people aren't getting paid. This is all because they choose to do it. There's fundraising and they get money to do what they need to do, but they're doing it because they choose to, not because they're paid to do a job. And they didn't get elected to do that job. They chose to do that job. They're not trying to fulfill somebody's wish. They're trying to fulfill an American wish, which is to bring back what the USA was and always was. 250 years worth of democratic values. So then we have the external interference, which is strength reversed. Foreign influence, subtle but destabilizing. I see Russia. Not overt force, but manipulation, undermining, and weakening national resolve. Cyber warfare, disinformation, psychological tactics could be draining U.S. power quietly but persistently. So this, I see Russia, I see Iran, maybe even Pakistan. Those are the ones that want to destabilize the U.S. and the American people, and it's not necessary. Destabilize the American government, because they don't like what they're doing to them, along with they don't like what they're doing in general. Right? The U.S. was always the free world. They were the country that everybody relied on. Everybody went to for help, support. People even put their money into the U.S. because it was a safe haven. It was a place to give your money and knew that it was going to be rewarded with interest that they said they were going to. And all of that is changing. Everything is changing. Donald Trump is changing everything, from the carpet to the nails in the wall. He's changing everything. And to put it back the way it was is going to take a lot of work. So the resolve is being weakened in the USA. And it's It's sad. It's really sad. Spiritual or energetic lesson is the Three of Cups reversed. This country is learning that superficial unity or celebration isn't enough. Yeah, superficial unity. The real healing and connection require trust and truth. And we don't have that. Not at all. There is no trust. There is no truth coming from our leaders. There's distractions. There's false narratives. There's false harmony. Right? Like they had a party at the White House for Easter, and it's supposed to be all yee. Things are just perfect when everybody knows they're not. Right? There's a warning that people who, there's toxic alliances that are pretending to be joyful and righteous, and they're not. So you have to really use your intuition when you hear something or learn something or are told something as to, do you feel that to be accurate? Does it come under common sense for that to be true? Right? It's so sad that we have to dig into our own psyche to figure out whether our government is being honest with us or not. Right? And then we have the direction by month's end, the Six of Cups. By the end of July, the energy shifts towards reflection, nostalgia, and returning to core values. This sounds like it's going to be possibly a good ending. So something is going to happen throughout this month. Maybe starting with the Strength card. Maybe this is going to help us. Or yeah, the 10th. So it's foreign influence, subtle but destabilizing. So they might be the ones that help us, along with the Ace of Pentacles, because it's like a new beginning. So we're getting away from looking at the government as our place to look for truth and fairness, and there's no shady stuff. It's just, I am what you see kind of thing, versus all this facade put in front of me, all this gold bling all over the place. Right, so we've got the Ace of Pentacles for new foundations. We've got the Strength of foreign influence. We've got the Three of Cups, where celebration isn't enough. We need trust and we need truth. And we need to trust our instincts and pay attention to our gut with regards to what we're hearing, what we're seeing, so that we're not taken back into the lies and the false narratives. And it will allow us to start shifting towards reflection and nostalgia and our core values. Our core values are the American dream, right? 250 years of being the #1 country in the world. And we allowed a man to be voted in to trash all that. History, tradition, childhood ideals. It's a yearning to restore what's been lost. There may be a public reckoning with the past. So this might be a really tense month going into it. And then we start seeing the flickers of the promises and the changes and the insight that we each have in ourselves. So we kind of get a renewed sense of, yes, we are fighting for the USA. We are fighting for the country that we want, we live in, we're proud of. It's tense but transformational. There's deep division, performative leadership, and hidden instability. But also that grassroots potential for change, a push in global affairs, and a desire to reconnect with foundational ideals may define the month's arc. While institutions appear weak, fractured, people's hunger for renewal grows stronger. What a fantastic reading. Well, fantastic in the sense of where we come into the month as to where we go out. However, I will say that it seems like every month we come in like a lion and go out like a lamb, or come in like a lamb and go out with a lion. And at the end, he's still in power and still moving his agenda forward. So let's hope the stars align. Let's hope the tarot tells us the truth and we're understanding it properly. And at the end of the month, we've got our nostalgia and our balance, and we're back on our feet. Thanks for listening.